Hi there, I'm Claire Chancellor from Be Your Purpose Coaching. If you're curious about what happens in a coaching session or curious about becoming a coach for yourself, then today's session is one to watch. The beautiful Rachel put her hand up to volunteer to hit record on what it's like to have a coaching session. And in today's recording, we take her through a process known as timeline, where we look at why she's been putting so much pressure on herself to perform, what was the root cause of that, and then therefore what she can do differently in her future with a pace that feels right for her and her authenticity. Rachel is a beautiful soul. She has an open heart and a curious mind about what we can do to help other people light up and live a life of passion and purpose. So in today's session is quite extraordinary for people to get an insight into what happens within the coaching world. In one-on-one session where it's not recorded, I would probably have taken this a little bit more deeper. But of course, Rachel has been so incredible to put her hand up to hit record and to be able to help people learn from her experience. So, a big thank you to you, Rachel. Hope you enjoy this. Let's get started. So I want to say a really big thank you to Rachel for being here. What we're going to do today is set the intention to record a coaching session. And from what I know on our journey together, Rachel, you are one of the most optimistic, beautiful, open heart people in the NLP training at the moment. And I offered you this coaching session to be able to help you work out what's next after coaching training. So a big welcome, a big thank you for being here.
Yay. Thank you for having me. Like a special guest or something. Yay.
Absolutely. So, Rachel, we have recently gone through about 6 months of NLP coaching training. And for anybody who's unfamiliar with what NLP stands for, that's the neuro linguistic programming. So, this is coming back to how we communicate to ourselves to get the results on the outside. And you would agree, Rachel, we've been through an enormous journey looking at beliefs, mindset, and all the things.
Yeah,
How have you
yeah.
how how have you found the training?
Awesome. Just mind-boggling, I think. You're just like, wow, this is just such a deep dive into, yeah, the unconscious and how our mind really works, which I think everyone is curious about, to a certain extent. So yeah, I've loved it. Yeah, just really enjoying it.
When you think about the Rachel before the training to the Rachel now, what do you notice within yourself?
Oh, I think definitely feel like that realization of, being at cause and that you're in control of everything that you want to create. Like that's really stuck out to me because it makes you live your life a little bit differently because you go, actually, I can choose my thoughts. I can choose, what I want to bring in yeah, and realizing that you can also undo things that you have learnt that haven't been helpful in the past to then get those things that you really, really want. So yeah.
Yeah. What I noticed from our journey together in the NLP training was you are really curious about how the mind works and how to get the best out of people. You were really intentional with the questions that you asked. And knowing that I asked you to fill out a bit of a questionnaire before this session, again, you were really intentional with your answers. So I'm curious from your point of view, holding on to the coaching skills, the NLP training, tell me a little bit more about where you want to take these skills, just that general kind of idea.
Yeah, it's a good question. I think I have like a bit of a vision for working one-on-one with people, and I really love the questions that you ask, and I want to be able to ask the right questions as well. Um, so yeah, I mean, I'm also doing kinesiology course, so I think that they go really nicely together because kinesiology is the body and where we hold into stress, and then it's yeah also the unconscious mind, so it's sort of like the whole
Yeah.
being. So I can see myself kind of, yeah, I mentioned I'd love to work for myself. I'd love to have whatever that looks like, a business, yeah, and work one-on-one with people. But I'm also very, you know open-minded and curious. So I'm kind of like, don't know what it's going to be until, more of like a respond to the opportunity and try something new until I don't like it, and then I move to something else. So it's a bit hard to describe.
Yeah. Yeah, you make a really good point that part of the coaching model is to be able to open questions to help somebody open new doors rather than the coach always having to have the answer. So it's a bit of a different mindset when somebody can ask you the questions, you go on that deep inner journey, exploring what works for you, and then coming out the other end going, actually, this is the clarity, this is the aha that resonates by my standards. And I can
Yeah.
see that that's going to be really important to the people that you work with is getting them to be empowered to have the answers for themselves.
Mm, yeah, definitely. Yeah.
And so I often think about coaching like the person outside of the pool who's observing the swimmer or observing the athlete and professionally being able to work out how, what's happening with their body. Are they staying focused in the lane? If the left leg kicking too much, like the coach's job, their expertise is actually to be able to work out where where somebody's coming out of their lane that they within their goals, within what they wanted to achieve. And so my approach to especially this session is to find out what is going on for you. You've got you're listening to your intuition, you're wanting more from your career, and then I'm curious to find out, okay, where do the wobbles start to come? Where do the
Yeah.
wobbles start to come in? Does that kind of make sense?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, because it's like I'll have these other ideas. Well, maybe I should do this. And it's like, is that just, something else getting in the way, making me think I need to do this when really, yeah, how do you stay on path of what? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and you articulate that well. Like, how do you stay on path? A lot of the time, people finish NLP training and sometimes they come away going, well, now what do I do with the tools? And you are 100% listening to your intuition that you actually have to put these tools into practice to then know exactly who you want to work with. So there's going to be a chapter where there's a bit of an experiment, getting your hands on anybody that you can work with, trying out this script, trying out that process. It'll be similar with kinesiology when you think about even just generally the type of solution that you want to provide your clients, is there anything there that stands out for you?
Mm. I suppose it's really dependent on what they're bringing to a session as to what the solution's going to be. But I think
Yep.
the important part for me is the empowerment thing, like that they, like what I love about kinesiology and coaching is that you're asking the questions and then they come to the solution. So that's going to be right for them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then let's drill into that, Rachel. When you think about who you were two-ish years ago, and that number is deliberate, like what kind of problems were you finding yourself stuck in?
Ooh, she was ago. I feel like that was when I was starting. I was looking into like government work. Yeah. And yeah, so that would have been a bit of yeah, I guess the sort of turning point, wanted to do more, have more impact with my job. I was working in like the public health field and then felt that like, with what I'd learned from public health, it was that kind of government overarching structural change that I wanted to work in that space. And then I did that program, but you know, I've always had a love for this world and spirituality and kinesiology and naturopathy and those sorts of things. So yeah, but I was curious. I was too curious about that to not do it. Do you know what I mean? So I did it. I worked in the government and then I was like, oh no, 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 this isn't right. So, but I feel like I still would have been too curious. But now I'm kind of, I don't want to like just waste that time. Like I don't really want to waste time and be trying something knowing that it's not right, apart knowing that part of me knows it's not right.
Yeah.
Which probably at the time a part of me did.
Then tell me what was the piece within you that overrode, I heard you say on one hand, I knew that there was the spirituality, metaphysical side, and then on the other side there was the what I could call like that mainstream side.
Yes.
Tell me what was the driving force to the mainstream first?
it was like like how I would be perceived. It was about other people more so than me, I think. Yeah.
I've got to dive straight in. So then what is the judgment on the metaphysical fun people?
I know. The first thing that springs to mind is money.
Yeah.
Like you can't make money from this, so that's sad. Because I don't logically believe that, but a clear part of me does. What else? I guess I've never been able to articulate it very well either,
Yeah.
like to be able to explain to people the concepts that I'm learning about. And that is a big barrier for me actually practicing it on people because I just can't explain it properly.
Yeah. Yeah. And so if you're going to talk about what you do, then my sense of humor, Rachel, says like, well done going into NLP because even the NLP trainers have trouble explaining to the average person what NLP is.
No. And because it's that thing of like you just know that it works and you use your intuition and all of these things. But you know, if you're trying to get people on board with you and get them interested and to actually get them into the chair to do the processes and the healing, you've kind of got to be able to explain it to a certain extent.
Well, that's the
Some of it
thing.
can't be explained.
Do you have to explain it though?
No, maybe not. No.
If you take yourself to a moment where you were feeling, you know, feeling stuck, frustrated, not sure what direction to go, you see that, whether it's Instagram, YouTube, wherever it is, that somebody saying, here's the solution to frustration, here's the clarity moving forward. Do you, thinking about the way that your body resonates, do you actually need to know in that moment what process they're going to do or what modality it is?
No, no, but I make decisions based on, feeling. So I guess it feels good. But you're right. And often they'll talk more about what you're going to get from it and the outcome as opposed to what's you're actually doing to get that outcome.
Yeah.
Um, yeah.
What difference does that make then to your direction when you're starting to build the clarity towards what you're going to do next within your career? When you hear that it's more solution focused than what you do focused, how does your body respond to that avenue?
Yeah, that feels almost like I feel calmer.
Oh, yay.
Yeah, like,
Get rid of the
oh,
noise.
yeah. Yeah, like you can just trust,
Yeah.
what
Yeah.
you're doing is going to have a nice solution and an outcome. And it's for the benefit of, whoever you're offering it to, really. So if you have that good intention.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, and that's the difference, right? Going to a GP or a heart specialist, you hear that the heart specialist knows the solution, or even the other one that I use in training, which is coming up in a couple of weeks, the relationship coach. Are you the person that helps people break up, or are you the relationship coach that helps people find love? Which avenue are you going down? Because the person who's struggling within finding love or the divorce, like you're gonna have that feeling of like, oh, this person knows what they're doing. This is the solution that they offer.
100%. Yeah.
So the reason I bring this up, Rachel, is I heard you say that there was a big part of you that wanted the security, the financial security, the reputation, the professionalism side of things within going down the government side. And then there had to be some level of wake up or something that happened for you to go, nah, I need to be true to myself. I need to explore this avenue. If we drill down into that particular detail of what was it where you made that switch, do you get a sense of what that was?
Yeah, yeah, 100%. It was a kinesiology session. I had a kinesiology session with amazing Ash, and I remember after it, she must have taken me through a process looking at my future. She just like listed a couple of options. We were like, oh, what else could I do? Um, and she like was like, you could be a music therapist, like an art therapist. Like she was just listing off really random ones, and she said like a yoga instructor, and my body went ooh at the yoga instructor one, and we were like ooh, and I was like okay, so sometimes yeah, it's just interesting to see how my body went lit up at something, the thought of something different. And we worked through actually blocks related to like my parents and their kind of scarcity around like me having security that wasn't even mine, which was a good thing to kind of clear, I guess. And then after the session, I was just running around my house like, oh, I don't have to work in the government anymore. I can do whatever I want. Like, yay. So that was a big
Yeah.
turning point.
I mean, we could do a whole coaching program, but what I'm hearing you, to get the detail on this, but what I'm actually hearing you say is the clients that you want to work with are those who are lit up by something different.
Yes,
How does
100%.
your body respond to that one?
Yeah, definitely. I feel like my number one question that I have for people is, oh, do you love it? Like when they tell me what they're doing for their work, oh, do you love that? Is that your perfect, like, do you love what you do? And they're always like, oh, and I feel like, oh, you should love what you do. Like,
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And do you know my question when I'm getting nosy with people is, which gives a lot of clues to people's passion, is would you encourage somebody to go into that industry? And then you just see it like they're either like no
yeah,
or
yeah, yeah,
or it's like, oh my
exactly.
gosh, yes, if you're interested, jump into it. So yeah, great minds think alike there, Rachel.
Yeah.
So going more into a little bit more of your intentions with going in, what's next, coaching kinesiology, working one-on-one, potentially leading a team, all of the things that you articulated that you're after. What lights you up about doing that?
Um, Feeling like I've helped someone.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. I think I very much align with like what your whole coaching thing is, like be your purpose. Like we're here for a reason and finding out what that reason is. So I think that if I was to give that to someone or help someone discover that, it would just be so satisfying because it's like, cool, another person in the world that's doing exactly what they're here for. And I kind of believe that once we're all doing exactly what we're here for, good things will happen,
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
like on a
How much,
bigger scale.
on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the most, how much do you believe you're being your purpose?
Like a nine, as here talking to you about all of this, that feels like, yeah, really strong actually.
In your current job, and you don't have to articulate what that is, but the 9 to 5, on a scale of 1 to 10, how exciting is that particular job?
3 to 4.
What do you think needs to change within you? If you were going to continue that job, what would need to change for that to go up to a 10?
Um, uh, I think a lot about the environment that I'm working in
Yep.
would need to change, like the building itself and um, probably the people that I'm around. I would probably want to be around more like-minded people that have an understanding of how the body and the unconscious affect well-being. Because at the moment I'm in a well-being team, but that's not spoken about. It's yeah, I guess it's not really, it doesn't have that kind of holistic well-being approach. It's in an institution, and it's more that more mainstream health determinants, I guess.
Yeah.
So yeah, those are kind of three main things, sort of like the theory of how we help people at the job,
Yep.
the people themselves and what I have in common with them and what we talk about, and then the environment that I'm in.
Yeah. Okay. And so the it feels quite rigid, doesn't it? When we link into, even though it's labeled well-being, it's quite rigid. Like my whole body's responding to like really grey walls and like rigid rules and the have tos. Yeah, and yet the holistic side to expand and play and be amongst all of the yummy crystals and the colours and the
Yeah. And get to the root, like get to the root of what's causing, you know,
yeah.
all of the problems that we're seeing and the people that are coming to us.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Because, I've taught NLP and coaching to even chiropractors, and they've seen within their clients where they've been made to go do x-rays and all the things, and they come back every week and need to be clicked back into place. And then with a few different coaching questions in regards to their health, their well-being, how their body's holding on to the limiting emotions, the lack of support, all the things, when you combine the coaching questions within any modality, myotherapy, chiropractic care, being a school teacher, when you get to the heart of what is the good question to help somebody unlock that, yeah, that's where big shifts start to happen. When you step into the idea of kinesiology, coaching, the the multifaceted healer that you are, and you take yourself, I don't know, maybe a year in the future where things are exactly the way that you want it to be. What do you notice about that for you, Rachel?
Um, I just feel so relaxed. So relaxed and like my lifestyle and my work. Yeah, it's just easy. It's almost like I'm not even, it doesn't feel like work. It just feels like this is my lifestyle and I get to like help people every day. And I get to kind of live my life around it, but it's not like, you have your 9 to 5 and you feel like you can only live outside of that. It's like, yeah.
I have a weird and wonderful question, and I'm good at asking those. First thing that comes to mind, what's the worst thing for you about being relaxed?
Not being productive.
I'm curious then, Rachel, how is it a problem for you if you're not being productive?
Can hear my parents' voice.
Hi, mum. Hi, dad. Yeah, I can totally relate.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. Yeah, that I'll look lazy or something like that. Yeah, like I'm not achieving something. Mm.
Yeah. When you get in touch with that, I mean, it feels heavy to me, but like when you get in touch with that feeling, where is your body holding on to that?
Mm. Like here,
Do you get a sense of what color that is, Rachel?
it's red.
Are you okay for me to dive into that a little bit more?
Yeah.
If you checked in with that red energy there in the heart or in the chest, I should say,
Mm.
do you get a sense if it's hot or cold?
Hot.
Yeah. And so if we got a bit playful with this and checked in, this is all about like not wanting to be lazy, need to achieve, all the things. If we checked in with that energy, trusting the first thing that comes to mind, what's its purpose for being in Rachel?
To keep me moving forward.
And if we checked in with that energy, not your logical mind, and we said to that energy, for what purpose? Why does Rachel need to keep moving forward?
To grow.
To grow? Let's check in with that energy then. How is it a problem if Rachel's not growing?
Mm. Because I think it's like that fear of like just staying in one place and then not getting to do lots of things and see the world and Ooh,
Yeah. Ready?
can't even say that. I want to see the world. Um, Yeah, staying in one, stuck in one place.
Okay. Can you talk to me? I'm just going with my intuition where this is taking us. Can you talk to me then about how time is interwoven into this? Because I can hear you say they're stuck in one place, got to grow, got to keep moving, yeah, like got to see the world, got to do all the things. What's happening with this energy? Why is there so much pressure with time? Do you get a sense of any messages there?
Um, I think it's that thing of like while you're young,
Yeah.
um, yeah, I get it. I just have a sense of needing to do things while I'm young.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah.
Can you relate that back to a message from your parents, or could it go back even further?
Hmm. Maybe it goes back further. I think like I've definitely, you know, heard people tell me stuff about like, oh, while you're young, and your body's all working and you can, do all these things. I'm not sure where that's coming from though.
Yeah. Wow. And so if we go back to that red energy there in the chest and said to it, once Rachel's productive at her own pace, does she still have to hold on to this pressure to go, go, go?
No.
Just curious, is there anything else there that that energy wants us to know before it does go?
Um, that there's a certain amount of pressure that I put on myself to go and be productive and keep growing.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good to know. With that in mind, what I do is what you're quite familiar with within the NLP training is to take you through a bit of a timeline process, Rachel, to go back to, I don't think it'll be your wording, but I want to go back to when, hold on, I'm going to put a pin there.
Mm,
It obviously, everybody's having a human experience. It's very healthy to want to grow, do all the things, achieve. I'm a big, big supporter in knowing what you want, going after it. What tends to happen though is if you're going after what you want with a sense of hustle, pressure, go, 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 running out of time, got to have it now, got to do it now, you're on the path to burnout because you can't do enough to actually satisfy the, yeah, that feeling. Would you agree?
totally. Yeah.
So then it comes back to resolving the pressure so that the intuitive inspiration can come in that does light you up. Because it sounds like you've obviously gone on that path down into the rigid mainstream well-being. And on one hand, you gained a lot of different insights. And then on the other hand, you could argue that you've wasted a lot of time.
Mm,
So there's the thing there with the following your inspiration at a pace that works for you so that you're streaming in the um, productive plan rather than, is this the right thing? Is that the right thing? Is this the right thing? Does that make sense?
yeah, 100%. Yeah.
What difference would that make to you if there was just that intuitive trust and ease?
Um, yeah, I think it would just, yeah, save a lot of time. And it would save a lot of the frustration and confusion and feelings of inauthenticity that happen when I'm not doing the right thing for
Yeah.
me.
Wow. Wow. Okay. Yeah, and that's obviously one of your biggest values is that authenticity, especially when you're working with people to be their best versions of themselves.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's you stepping forward in that leadership to say, if I can do it, you can do it, that sort of thing.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah. Practice what you preach.
What was that? Sorry.
Practice what you preach.
Yeah, absolutely. A question that comes in is if you were living that fulfilling, authentic life, and it may be a topic for a different day, but what happens to the financial pressure when you're following that inspiration?
It's not there. I like it just doesn't feel like, yeah, an issue at all.
Yeah, because it's interesting in the healing world. You know, you can sign up for what I consider human coaching, and they'll give you a list of all the things that you should be doing, and it can be very, very overwhelming. And you should be posting every day on Instagram. You should be on YouTube. You should have be on Patreon. You should all of these lists. And with the current strategy that you've got, you would be on a fast track to burnout with all of the shooting, if that makes sense. Do you get a sense that oh, I guess do you get a sense like that no matter what career choice you did, if you had this energy sitting there, like that it could actually jeopardize that that forward movement that you wanted.
Yeah, and even some of the enjoyment of it as well. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Is there any other sort of questions or anything coming up for you at your end?
Mm, no, I think it's interesting that you bring up social media and yet I guess expectations around what being a coach or a business owner or a kinesiologist looks like for me because I have that kind of rigid structure in my head, but part of me knows that that's maybe not right for me. I don't even feel like I want to be, having to produce 7-second videos on social media all the time. So
Yeah.
yeah, curious about that a bit.
Yeah, from my own personal experience, I had a 9 month wait list and I was not doing very much social media at all. It all came back to that authenticity. My energy was who I wanted to work with, who I attracted in. And truth be told, I didn't even have a website until COVID happened and I was bored enough to create it. So my business thrived on word of mouth, just pretty much delivering really good value for people and then word got around, and I was working with clients in the Bahamas and Poland and Italy. And like, how did you get my phone number?
Cool. That's amazing. Yeah, yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, and so that's where people come to me with coaching. They're like, okay, Claire, teach me social media. And I'm like,
Mm,
it's an avenue, it's a choice. It's not the number one thing that has to be in place, but it's a choice. Which is good. It's good to have choice.
absolutely. And yeah, some people are just amazing at it and they love it, and that's great. Yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah,
For sure.
yeah, absolutely. If you love it, and again, that's what we're talking about. If you love it, then absolutely go into that. And what we're talking about within that spiritual realm, the metaphysical, I know for myself that if my energy is low and I'm burnt out and I'm doing all the things and all of that, the clients don't come because they can pick up on the buffer of energy. So I do believe that it comes from that self first before it comes to the marketing and the messaging.
Yeah.
Does that make a difference for you when you think about the people that you want to work with, Rachel?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, yeah. I think it makes sense for, yeah, like your energy is everything. I know when I'm feeling like at the moment I feel closed off to, practicing my NLP and stuff on people, um, because of, yeah, you know, self-doubt and things like that. But once that energy's open, you're obviously going to attract in all the people. So similar thing with, choosing how you run your business and how you attract clients.
Yeah, and I would say practice NLP. Like we say practice NLP, but practice the curiosity model, asking different questions, even just when I go pick up my daughters from school and talking to other mums and just practicing, and they have no idea that I'm practicing, but it's like, oh, it's interesting you say that, and off I
Mm.
go. That's how I.
That's true. Actually, I have been, now that you put it that way, I actually have been practicing quite a lot. If that's it. And you forget how much of it is conversational. Mm.
Yeah, which is so important, right? Because we think, okay, you have to sit down, I've got to coach you. And like, no, let it happen naturally. Let the conversational belief changes happen when the magic happens and people are not even aware that you're doing it. That's where it's fun.
Yeah, that's fun.
Cool. All right. So if it's okay with you, I'll take you through a bit of a timeline process. I'm getting a bit of a nudge though, as I do, is to just check in. Is that all right with you? Check in with the team, what we need to know about this red energy. Yeah, let's check in. So, what do we need to know here for Rachel with this pressure and the that red energy? What do we need to know here, just so that we can help shift it in a really easy way? Yeah, awesome. So this is what I like to play with all the tools in the toolkit, Rachel. We've got the Fool here. Ooh. And I'm
Mhm.
not sure you're familiar with tarot, but the Fool actually represents the trust and the confidence to take the leap. So when I used to learn mediumship, the teacher or the tutor in mediumship, we call it, often talked about spirit wanting you to metaphorically jump off the cliff. Like, do you trust that the team have got your back, that they're going, when you ask the questions, the guidance, the intuition, the support is going to be there? And so this is much the same message. The Fool represents your first breath in that new chapter and dialing up the confidence to just have fun with it and take a risk. Uh, we've got the little white dog there, his companions reminding you you're never alone. And that little sack that he's holding onto tells us that the tools that you got are incredible, that they fit in that little pocket. Like, it doesn't need to be all the big things to make a big difference to people. When you see that, how do you feel about that message?
Cool. Yeah, yeah, cool. I think it just also like makes me feel like it doesn't have to be so serious. Like just the name of the car, like the fool can just be like, yeah, a bit playful and fun and I'm just gonna try this and shouldn't be, yeah, just be fun.
Yeah, you're right. The Fool is a major arcana card, which means that spirit's absolutely got your back. Like, you're following those nudges, those hints, synchronicities, and yeah, doors are opening. So that's exciting.
Really cool.
Yeah, that's a an applause to your achievement though, because a lot of people don't trust their intuition, Rachel. So it's big. Yeah, cool. All right. So, are we ready to start to get to the bottom, the root cause of this red energy, the
Mm.
pressure,
Yes.
and to release it?
Yeah.
Just curious from your end, that red energy, would you call it pressure or is it fear of staying in one place? Like, what word would you put to it?
Um, yeah, I felt pressure.
Okay, cool, cool. Alrighty, let's play. So then, Rachel, what I want you to do is just, sit there, comfy, knowing that this time is just for you, just focusing on my voice as I take you through the timeline process to go back to that root cause of this pressure. What I want you to do is to look up towards those gorgeous eyebrows and then just gently closing those eyes. What that does is it just signals to your brain to just allow that creative part of you, to the healing part of you, to start to step forward. And as you relax those eyes, I just want you to imagine the number three, seeing the number three, taking in a deep breath. And as you exhale, seeing that flash, that three, 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 and imagining the number two, seeing the number two, and again a big breath in. And as you exhale, seeing that flash, that two, two, two. And Rachel, easily on that one, 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 feeling that sense of calm, feeling that sense of peace, feeling that sense of lightness. What I want you to do, Rachel, is just to give yourself permission to float up out of your body, floating higher and higher, floating even higher. And what I want you to do is I want you to notice that you're up there amongst the stars, floating really high there. And as you look down, I want you to notice that intuitively there's your time stream. You know which direction is your future and which direction is your past. And today, what we're going to do is we're going to zoom all the way back to the very first time you felt this pressure to perform, pressure to be productive. I don't know what kind of words you want to put to it, but I want you to notice that we're going to zoom all the way back on your time stream, all the way back to that red dot, and knowing that we're at that moment in time, the very first time you had that red energy, the pressure to perform, the pressure to be productive. In a moment, not now, I'm going to ask you to float down into the event to see what you saw and hear what you heard that very first time you experienced that kind of pressure. And so, on three, two, one, dropping down into that event, Rachel, and just taking notice. Are you inside or outside?
I'm inside,
Is it daytime or nighttime?
daytime.
Can you tell me what's going on for this pressure to be around you?
Yeah, so I'm in maybe prep, and have those like book reading levels, and I've gone like straight to whatever the highest level is, and now I'm feeling the pressure about, yeah, I don't know, being at that level, maybe having to maintain it or something.
Oh, interesting, interesting. Okay. And so, what I want you to do then, Rachel, is to freeze that scene. And I want you to imagine that you, as you are, the grown up you, actually starts to come into that scene. And what I want you to notice is you've got that little version of you who's striving for the best, striving for the top challenge here. And as the scene is frozen, it's just you and her. I want you to just get in touch. Does she trust you?
Yeah.
What I want you to do here, Rachel, is I want you to let her know that those yucky feelings, that pressure, all of that is is a message from her body saying like, yeah, this is again a lot of pressure. What I want you to do, Rachel, is just to imagine that you scoop her up like Peter Pan flying off to Never Never Land. I want you to take her off to your safe space, taking her to that beautiful place where she can either play with the fairies in the garden or the mermaids in the ocean, but just getting her off to that safe space, having that bubble of light so only you two can be there. And just checking in with that little version of you. How is she feeling about that pressure?
She's calmer, but still kind of aware that it's there when she comes back.
Yeah, absolutely. Are you able to dial up your healing abilities here and just scan her little body? Where is she holding on to that pressure?
Shoulders.
On her shoulders. With that pressure there, can we check in with her? What is it that she needs?
I think just a bit more kindness and like like someone telling her that the pressure's not there, or the like there's no expectations of her.
Yeah, wow. Yep. She's pretty switched on to know that that's what she needs is like, yeah, I just need that external validation. Someone telling me like it's all good working at the pace. There's no expectations. In fact, you're here at school to learn. It's all the fun stuff. So what I want you to do, Rachel, is getting in touch with your healing abilities and start to magnetically pull out the pressure out of her shoulders. I consider it to be like a magician pulling out the scarves, but just pulling out that pressure in her shoulders, just pulling it out. I can feel it coming out of her stomach. I can feel it coming out of her back, like just pulling all of that out. Oh, she's taken on a lot of pressure. Okay, taking all of that out. And as you hold that energy out in front of you, Rachel, what do you notice about the color?
Like rainbow pastels.
Yeah. With this energy here in front of you, I want you to check in. Is it yours or somebody else's?
Somebody else's.
Wow. Interesting. Having that energy out in front of you, what have you learnt from holding on to other people's energy?
Oh, I can just kind of weigh you down a bit.
Yeah, yeah. From this perspective, knowing that there's potentially other people's kind of like fear of staying in one place, other people's like need for financial security, all of that stuff. I want you to notice that as you're holding it out in front of you, there's a choice here on engaging with that fear or finding a new way. What stands out to you?
Hmm, finding a new way.
Yeah, right. Because you've like tried it on, it kind of worked, it didn't work for whatever reason. Tell me, what have you learnt from trying on that, fear of staying in one place? What have you learnt from all of that?
Um, yeah, I think that thing of like we've tried to do it the way that most people maybe do it, or the way that like society expects. So it's kind of like, cool, not missing out on anything here. I can go and do it a different way.
Yes, I love that. Like, yeah, nope, not missing out on this one. No, no, no. So then what I want you to do, Rachel, is I want you to, again, dialing up that healing ability of yours. I actually want you to spin that pastel ball of energy, just getting to spin that even stronger, spinning it even faster, noticing as you start to spin it that it also draws out any of the fears, the limitations, the doubts, the needing to get it right, all of the things, spinning all of that. And when you're ready with your healing abilities, is just to clear and transmute, just like just releasing that through all times, throughout your childhood, throughout your future. Notice the ripple effect of that. And now, as there's that calmness, let's check in. What are the words of encouragement that you would give to that little version of you for her to now have that sense of curiosity, her authenticity?
I think just like follow the things that are making you happy, that you're loving and enjoying, and just keep doing
Yeah.
that.
When we check in with her and just playing this out, there's a whole library of books. What would you say to her about picking maybe, one with more pictures?
Hmm. I think I think she just wants to like create some art instead.
Yeah, isn't that fascinating that sometimes the learnings aren't within the complicated symbols of words? Sometimes the learnings and the creativity gives you access to a whole level of inspiration, transformation, and all the things. Checking in with that little version of you, is there anything else there that she needs?
Yeah, just a big cuddle.
Yeah, awesome. So knowing that you actually know what you need and you have that self-awareness, you're listening to it and knowing that life is like a canvas. You get to paint all the things that you want to paint on your life. Just invite you now to, scoop it back up. Let's take her back on her time stream. Let's float her all the way back just before that even day, before they even said to pick a book. Let's take her on a time stream all the way back, walking into the classroom and noticing there's that color within her being, the creativity, the light, giving her those words of encouragement to, take things at her own productive pace. How do things seem differently there now?
Yeah, I mean, she just seems like a lot younger almost, like without that pressure on her shoulders.
Oh, so not only is there no pressure, she's actually gained more time. Like,
Yeah.
awesome. So then what I'd invite you to do there, Rachel, is to leave her there with the wonder and the play, the creativity, knowing that she can make life whatever way that she wants it to be. I just invite you again to float up above that time stream, and this time floating into the future, maybe a month, 2 months. So we're looking at next year and having a look at how your life has shifted when you've allowed yourself to have that creativity, to have that trust in being productive at your own pace, to trying different things out that resonate with you. What looks different on your life now?
Mm. I think not too much is like changed, but I feel different. Like I feel more patient. Um, yeah, and maybe more likely to like start up conversations with people about the things that I'm interested in and what I might do, in the coming year.
Yeah. When you look at the types of conversations that you're having, how do people respond?
Oh, yeah, that's cool. They seem more interested and like inquisitive.
Yeah. That's interesting, right? So where previously it would have been like, how are people going to receive this and doubt and all of that? It's actually like, hey, let's have a great conversation. And it's like finally somebody is asking the good questions.
Yeah, yeah. And then I get to kind of learn more, kind of accelerates the learning because it makes me think about more things.
Yeah, nice. I'm curious, Rachel, what do you have to believe about yourself to create this colourful future?
That I'm doing it for me and my passion and purpose and happiness, and trusting that that will, ripple out and affect everyone else, you know, impacting.
Getting in touch with that self-trust, what colour is it?
Pink, purple, pinky purple.
Yay! So then what I want you to do is I want you to notice that we're there in the future. All of those golden footprints that led you to that moment ask you to turn around. I want you to come back on your time stream, back to this now moment. But before you come into the body, I want you to notice how you can start to pour that pink, purple, beautiful energy of self trust into that Rachel, that pink in her heart space, the purples moving all throughout every cell of her being, that self trust, that productivity at her own pace. Noticing how that just like liquid crystal just completely fills you up. And anywhere where you were holding on to that pressure in the chest, it's just like, no, I can breathe easy now. Truth is, when you relax, that's when the inspiration comes in for the right action. So it's a step that must be taken. And so, as we've got that in place, that beautiful pink energy, the purple energy rippling out in all directions of time, I invite you to drop down into your body just gently and easily, starting to wiggle those fingers and toes, resonating back in this now time we call reality. And when you're ready, opening your eyes to a whole new you.
Hmm. Cool.
What a bit of a journey we've been on.
Wow, that was great.
Yeah.
Some big aha moments in there. Wow.
Yay, that's what we live for, those rich aha moments of clarity and yeah, and that productive movement forward.
Hmm. Amazing. It's so cool. Like when it's your younger self and you're like, oh, you've been carrying this. Like, no.
That whole visual of like she's gonna succeed and like darling, you're aging yourself too early. Like go
I know, yeah, it's amazing. She's just like all youthful and innocent again after that.
nice. Yeah. Yeah. Do you have any questions about what just happened?
Um, no, I don't think so. I was curious, like, how you chose the point in the future that you were going to take me to. Because you only went a couple of months. Was that for a reason?
Yeah, I was following my intuition. It was there's no better time like the present to start making this happen. So it didn't need to be a year in the future or 5 years. It's the skills, the energy, the enthusiasm, the passion that you've got for what you want to do, Rachel. It needs to start today.
Mm. Yeah,
And the
yeah,
and
yeah.
as
I
we're
think I'm just
there
sorry,
you
you go.
go. There you go.
I would think I was expecting like to be in a different like and 2 months is not that long, so I think I was expecting to be in like I don't know, a different environment or something. But it was kind of like that's the whole point, like the realization that, you know, yeah, not I don't know, like not rushing that process and the productivity and, leaving my job before I'm, even ready or have a new one.
Oh, I
But the
wouldn't
fact that my whole
I wouldn't.
mindset.
I mean, I could check in. What's the energy like? I know what I would encourage you, but what's the energy like for Rachel to leave her job next year? And it's the energy's actually is not quite. I would agree with this. It's actually not quite right. We've got the King of Swords. There's a lot of intellect. There's a lot of decisions that need to be made before any forward movement with this card. So there's clouds in the sky, so not everything's 100% clear. And there's a message here to be a little bit more like that bird that has a high perspective on what the plan is. For anybody moving into their own business, I would always encourage them to build their skills, then offer your services when you're not working, after work or weekends. And when that starts to get super busy, that's when, work becomes 4 days, 3 days, 2 days, thank you, goodbye. So I would never encourage anybody to rip the band-aid and some people do have the guts and the strength or the financial backup because they're married or savings or inheritance or whatever it is, but I would still encourage somebody to build their confidence up within their coaching business so that when they're ready to take that leap it's and we can check in. So what's the energy like when Rachel's ready and she's like really ready and it's all happening? What's the energy what's the energy like here? Yeah, look at that. We've got the Four of Wands, we've got happy families, the relationships are feeling good, the castle, the celebrations. This is good action to take. So obviously there's some things that still need to be resolved. There's only so much we can do in a 45-minute session. But yeah, the plan that you've got's well and truly supported.
Very cool. Yeah, no, I think it was just the fact that like it was 2 months, I was still in the same job, but my whole like I felt completely different.
Yeah, and that's
And I didn't
that's the
feel like stuck in the current job. It just felt like different.
yeah.
Yeah.
And being comfortable in the current job instead of icky and being pushed out because of pressure versus now see that's the other thing I would encourage you, Rachel, is to actually play with your coaching skills on the people who are at work.
Yeah.
Not that I'm mischievous in any way, shape, or form, but I
Mm,
would be saying, isn't that interesting? Tell me more. Why do we do it that way? And start to just to test your skills, not to test the person. And that's one of the reasons why I did say two-ish months is we're recording this at the end of November, December, January. People are looking at, New Year's resolutions, the plan, things go quiet, they're interacting with family. And it's
mm,
like, yeah, let's start to play with this to then
yeah.
definitively know what what direction you want to move in.
Yeah, that's cool. I love that. Makes sense.
Cool, cool. Well, that has been a fabulous pocket of time with you, and hopefully that's made a big ripple of change for you there with all of the ahas that are going to come in. I would encourage you to, whether it's a pink and purple flower, pink and purple post-it note or something, but just some little anchor, and you know what that is now, but some pink and purple energy around you to remind you to take action on that self trust. So that would be my little bit of home play between now and when I see you next.
Love that. Thank you so much. This was amazing. I loved it. I can't wait to see, how I feel after as well. But I'll keep you posted.
Yay! Yay! Well, keep me updated, and
Mhm.
I say a really big thank you for putting yourself out there and helping everybody else learn. So this is you being authentic and helping serving people. So thank you, Rachel.
Thank you, Claire. Okay.